This is not a metaphor. True alchemy begins where silence starts to hum. They say everything is vibration. But what they don't tell you is this. Beneath every vibration is a whisper, a pulse so subtle that only the stillest souls ever hear it. And when they do, their world unravels. I first heard it standing barefoot in the desert, miles from civilization. The wind had stopped. The sun seemed to hold its breath. And then there it was. A tone, soft and ancient, rising not through my ears, but from the space between atoms. The ancients called this tone primus murmur, the first whisper. Egyptian priests meditated in limestone halls, not for visions, but for this murmur. In Tibet, they carved symbols not to worship, but to echo the geometry of that sound. Modern physics might call it the Planck scale, the place where matter becomes probability. But the ancients? They called it the threshold of alchemy. Close your eyes now. Place your hands over your heart. Breathe in slowly through your nose for a count of 7. Hold, and now exhale, imagining a tone so faint it's barely real. Repeat. If you do it right, you may feel a slight pressure in your chest or a strange floating sensation. That is not imagination, that is the field adjusting. Not all initiations are marked by light. Some begin in shadows, where fire meets matter and the sacred stink of transformation rises. In alchemy, salt was never just a mineral, it was memory made solid. Every grain of salt was thought to carry echoes of the earth's original breath, the moment spirit condensed into form. But the true secret, salt isn't the beginning, it's the gatekeeper. When the ancient Persian mystics entered ritual, they didn't begin with prayer. They burned salt over flame, not to purify but to call forth the veil. The white smoke that rose from the burning salt wasn't a symbol. It was an entry point, a signal that the inner body, the subtle body, was ready to crack open. I remember the first time I tried it. I sat cross-legged in silence, salt and candle in hand. As the salt hissed and curled into smoke, the room darkened not from lack of light, but from an inner fog. My fingers tingled. I felt an ache behind my eyes. Something had shifted. Now, it's your turn. Take a pinch of salt. Hold it over a candle or incense burner. Never a synthetic flame, the ancients insisted on living fire. Let it burn. Watch the smoke. Don't think, just breathe. If your hands tremble or your eyes sting, you are not reacting to the smoke. You are witnessing the veil. This ritual is known as opening the gate of salt and smoke. Do not attempt it in anger or haste. It will only show itself to the steady. Modern chemistry says burning salt releases electrons. Ancient texts say it reveals the soul's dust. Before you were born, something breathed you into existence. Alchemy begins when you learn to breathe it back. Everyone talks about the breath, the prana, the chi, the life force. But few realize, not all breaths are equal. Most people breathe to survive. The alchemist breathes to awaken. In ancient Egypt, initiates weren't allowed to speak the true names of the gods until they had mastered the breath of return, a technique said to reconnect the body to the original breath that formed the universe. The Tibetans called it the wind horse. The Vedic sages knew it as Udana Vayu, the breath that lifts the soul upward. But here's the part that science confirms. There is a point between inhale and exhale where the body does not move, and yet the entire nervous system begins to realign. That point, the still point, is where alchemy lives. Close your eyes. Inhale through the nose for 5 seconds. Hold for 8 seconds. Exhale through the mouth for 7 seconds. Now, before the next inhale, pause. That stillness right there is the door. You might feel heat in your spine, a flicker behind the eyes, or suddenly, your thoughts may stop not from force, but from recognition. You've remembered something ancient. And here is the secret the ancient alchemists never wrote down. Just one correct breath, one can reactivate the current of original energy. Not metaphorically, literally. Cells rehydrate, blood flow shifts, the inner field reorganizes. But beware, once you feel that breath, ordinary life may no longer satisfy you. It doesn't show your face, it shows what hides beneath it. There's a ritual they never taught in schools, not even in the secret temples of light. It wasn't passed down in chants or chiseled into stone. because it was too dangerous for the unready. It's called the mirror of non-reflection, and it reveals not your appearance, but your energy signature. In the ruins of Mohenjo-Daro, archaeologists found polished copper plates near the base of an altar. At first, they assumed it was for vanity, ancient grooming, but buried beneath was a scroll fragment etched in Sanskrit. He who gazes long enough will no longer see his face, but the one he abandoned. You see, the true alchemical transformation doesn't begin when you add something. It begins when you confront what you hid to survive. This mirror, not a literal one, exists in the mind's deepest chamber. It is the watcher's gaze turned inward. Let me ask you, have you ever stared at yourself for too long and suddenly felt like a stranger? That sensation, the eerie, almost frightening detachment, is your inner essence attempting to resurface. Not your ego, not your story. The raw, radiant being that existed before you were named. Here's what to do. Go to a mirror, in dim light. No makeup, no mask, just you. Gaze into your own eyes for 3 minutes. Don't speak. Don't blink too fast. Let the silence widen. At first, you may feel resistance. Your thoughts will scream for escape. You'll want to laugh or look away. But stay. After about 90 seconds, something will shift. Your features may seem to distort. Your image may blur. That's not the mirror malfunctioning, that's the surface layer collapsing. What appears next may be ancient, may be painful, or may be utterly divine. Warning: only do this when you are ready. This technique can trigger emotional release, lost memories, or spontaneous energetic visions. If that happens, breathe. You're not breaking, you're remembering. There is a sound you were never supposed to speak aloud. It doesn't belong to any language, yet it shaped them all. Long before alphabets, before ink and parchment, before men gave names to mountains and stars, there was a vibration. Not a word, not a chant, but a field key, a tone that unlocks the inner dimensions. The Egyptians whispered it in chambers carved beneath the earth. The Sufis hid it inside sacred poetry. The Vedic sages veiled it in mantras that only the initiated could hear. They called it Ka-Ra-On, not a name, a frequency, 3 syllables, each resonating with a different layer of the being. Asterisk. Ka, the soul essence. Asterisk. Ra, the solar fire. Asterisk. On the eternal field. But here's the heresy. You don't need to be in a temple to use it. You just need to vibrate it correctly. When spoken with focus, Ka-Ra-On doesn't pass through the throat. It passes through the spinal cord. It is a vertical sound, one that climbs. Now, let's begin. Sit. Back straight. Inhale deeply. On the exhale, vibrate. Ka, Ra, O. Let each syllable last about 5-7 seconds. Feel the resonance in your bones, not just your mouth. Repeat it 3 times. Then go silent. After this practice, you might feel warmth at the crown of your head, or subtle tingling in your fingertips. Some even report tears, without sadness, just an inexplicable release. Why? Because this sound doesn't unlock emotion. It unlocks memory not of the past, but of your original form. Modern science calls this vocal-induced neural harmonization. The ancients called it activation. But beware. The more often you speak it, the more the field will begin to rearrange itself around you. People may exit your life. Synchronicities may intensify. You may feel like reality is bending. You're not imagining it. You're beginning to bend with it. It touches your lips every day, but only the alchemists knew how to make it awaken. Water is everywhere. We drink it, bathe in it, curse it during storms. But do you know what the ancient alchemists called it? The mirror of the invisible world, because water, unlike any other element, remembers. In the lost scrolls of Alexandria, there was a forbidden passage. Speak to the water, and it will take your shape. The priests of Thoth believed that water, when exposed to voice and intention, could store codes of transformation like a crystal drive for the soul. Modern science whispers this truth now too. Masaru Emoto's experiments showed us that words of love or hate shape water molecules into divine or chaotic geometries. But the ancients already knew. They sang into bowls of water before ceremonies. They wrote sacred glyphs and dipped them into water to transfer their vibrational intelligence. Alchemy wasn't always gold. Sometimes it was a cup of charged memory. Here is your ritual. Get a glass of pure water. Spring water is best, but clean still water will do. Place your hand above it, never touching. Now speak, clearly but softly, these words. Return me to the form before forgetting. Say it 3 times. Then close your eyes. Breathe. Hold the glass and drink it in one slow, reverent motion. The taste may change. Some describe it as thicker. Others feel warmth move through the chest. You may remember something that never happened in this life. Caution. Don't do this carelessly. Once you imprint water with your vibration, it imprints back. This is not a placebo. It is a feedback loop with the field. You may notice dreams becoming more vivid, old emotional wounds surfacing to be cleared, or a subtle disinterest in things that once held you tightly. Because, when the water remembers you, it asks, do you remember yourself? It's been with you since the womb. Coiled, patient, silent, until now. There's a river of fire in your body. It doesn't burn. It awakens. The Egyptians carved it as a serpent, winding up the spine of Osiris. The Hindus called it Kundalini, the sleeping goddess. The Tibetans whispered of the Tummo flame, the inner heat that melts illusion. But the alchemists, they had no name for it, because they feared it. Because once it rises, you cannot return to who you were. I speak from experience. The first time it moved in me, I wasn't chanting in a temple or sitting in perfect posture. I was lying on the floor after heartbreak, broken, empty, silent, and then a warmth in the base of my spine, a pulse, a flicker of something ancient rising through me. My hands shook, my tears came, my breath disappeared. That was the ignition. It is not a fire to summon, it is a fire to release. To begin the inner ignition ritual, sit in complete stillness, eyes closed, back straight. Place your attention at the base of your spine. Now whisper softly but clearly to yourself, I allow what has always been mine to rise. Breathe into the base, then the lower belly, then the chest, then the crown. Inhale, exhale, feel the spiral move. Do not force it, do not chase it, just witness. You may feel heat, trembling, or an emotion you can't name. Some hear inner sounds. Some feel as if their spine is lengthening. Warning, this is not a toy. Once awakened, this energy begins to cleanse, reorder, and rewire your nervous system. It brings up trauma not to punish, but to clear the gates. But when the spine is lit, the bridge between heaven and earth is open. If you felt even a flicker of this sacred fire, type, the light in my spine has awakened. This is your ignition. Before you rise, it will appear. It always does. It has many names. But it only asks one question. Are you truly ready? You've probably felt it already. That subtle resistance, the doubt, the inner tremble that whispers, this is too much. Stop now. That is not weakness. That is the guardian of transformation. In ancient Hermetic teachings, they called it the dweller on the threshold. In Tibet, it was the Mara, tempter of the mind. In Jungian psychology, it's your shadow, the disowned self. But the alchemists knew it more intimately. They called it simply that which must be met. It wears 1,000 forms: self-doubt, procrastination, Zornfatigue, distractions from nowhere, even sickness. And it shows up right before you are about to shift. Because no one passes into transformation without first being tested by their own resistance. Let me tell you the truth. It's not here to stop you. It's here to ask, will you abandon yourself again? Here's how to face it. The next time you feel blocked emotionally, physically, energetically, don't fight. Don't run. Sit down. Close your eyes. Say aloud, show me the form of my resistance. You may see an image, a face, a memory, a shadow, or you may feel pressure in your body. Wherever it appears, breathe into it. Say, I will not run from you. I recognize you. I reclaim what I left behind. If you begin to cry, shake, laugh, or feel rage, let it. You are not breaking. You are unbinding. Warning. Many turn back here. This is the last veil, the final test before the field fully opens. If you skip this, the energy will stall. If you face it, you will rise untouched by illusion, because the guardian only guards what is sacred. It doesn't move through time, it bends it. This vibration does not travel, it rearranges. By now, you've heard sound. You've spoken vibration. You've breathed intention. But this is different. There exists a frequency so precise, so ancient, it doesn't move from source to listener like ordinary sound. It instantly appears wherever consciousness is focused. The ancients knew it. The Atlanteans etched it into quartz chambers. The Mayans embedded it in obsidian pyramids. And in India, it was sung but only once a year during the alignment of 3 sacred stars. Its name? They never spoke it, because it was not meant to be spoken. It was meant to be toned inside the body, vibrated, not voiced. This is the fold frequency. Modern science hints at it. Quantum physicists describe non-local entanglement, where 2 particles, light years apart, mirror each other in real time. But the alchemists went further. They believed this frequency could rearrange the outer world by collapsing possibilities into form, not by willpower, not by belief, but by tuning your inner field to that exact code. To access it, do this. Place your awareness not in your breath, not in your body, but in the space behind your heart. It may feel like emptiness. That's correct. That's the chamber. Now, in your mind, hum silently. But don't force it. Imagine the sound gently folding in on itself, over and over, like light rippling backward. You may feel disoriented, like time is slowing. You may feel your hands tingling, or a sudden silence inside the mind. This is the field beginning to bend. Warning. Some report that shortly after this practice, strange things occur. Asterisk. You think of someone, and they text you. Asterisk. You speak a desire, and it appears. Asterisk. You dream something, and it happens. This is not coincidence. This is the fold taking effect. Do not use this carelessly. It is not a toy. It is a mirror, and it gives you only what you truly vibrate. If you felt time stretch or events shift, type, "The fold has heard me." This confirms your field has begun to ripple. You've never seen it, but it has always seen you. You've looked out into the world your entire life. But what if I told you, the world has also been looking back, from inside you? The ancients spoke of the third eye, but they were misunderstood. It isn't a mystical organ or a crystal between your brows. It's a lens of perception that turns reality inside out. In Egypt, it was the eye of Horus carved into tombs not to ward off death, but to remind the soul how to see after forgetting. In the Vedas, it is the Ajna chakra, the command center, and in the silent caves of Tibetan initiates, it is called the inner lamp. But here's the secret. Most teachings never say, this eye does not open with effort. It opens with surrender. I learned this the hard way. I chanted. I fasted. I meditated for hours. Nothing. Until one night, during a thunderstorm, I simply stared into the dark and gave up trying. In that silence, behind my forehead, a violet light pulsed once, and then I saw, not visions, not gods, but the true fabric beneath everything. That was the eye, and it never closed again. To begin the inner eye ritual, sit in complete stillness, spine tall. Gently place your gaze at the point between your eyebrows. Eyes can be closed or softly open. Do not strain. Breathe. Now repeat, inwardly. Reveal what I have hidden from myself. Repeat it 7 times, slowly. Then wait. You may see nothing, or you may feel a twitch, a vibration, a pulse, right between the brows. That's the optic bridge beginning to awaken. Side effects. Some initiates experience heightened dreams, a sudden ability to know things without logic, or sensitivity to sound and light. You may also become emotionally detached from drama or noise, as if seeing through the illusion. This is normal. The eye does not open to entertain. It opens to liberate. This is not a metaphor. This is the end of what you were, and the ignition of what you are becoming. By now, you have felt the whisper. the breath, the salt, the sound, the light in your spine, the eye within your skull, but none of it matters until you step into the flame. The ancient alchemists called it ignis internum, the inner fire, but they also called it the devourer of forms. Not because it destroys, but because it refines. It burns away everything false, every mask, every memory tied to pain, every identity you wore for survival. The emerald tablet ends not with gold, but with fire. It rises from earth to heaven and descends again to earth and receives the power of the above and the below. Thus you will have the glory of the whole universe. This is that fire, not outside you, but in the center of your being, in your chest, behind the heart. It does not come when called. It comes when you are empty enough. The final activation. Seat upright. Place both palms over your heart. Feel the warmth of your hands, but also the stillness within your chest. Now speak aloud. I release all that I am not. I burn away the old skin. I return to my essence. Let the true flame rise. Then be still. No music, no motion. Just sit and wait for the sensation. It may be warmth. It may be grief. It may be lightness, like something just left your body. This is the final ignition. Warning. Once this fire is felt, your old life will begin to fall apart. Not out of punishment, but alignment. What is false cannot remain. You will lose what does not match your new vibration, and in its place will come the true. This is the real alchemy, not turning lead into gold, but turning pain into clarity, turning fear into power, turning the forgotten self into the awakened flame. You have now passed through the 11 hidden gates. You are not the same. You were never meant to be. This is not the end, it's the beginning of remembering. There are more layers, more codes, more initiations waiting in the silence. But for now, breathe, feel, and know you are not alone. If this journey resonated, if the vibration stirred something ancient in you, subscribe to this channel not as an act of fandom, but as a declaration of presence within this sacred field. Share this video to extend the ripple. Comment your confirmation not for us, but to anchor your intention into the collective web. Every subscription, every comment, every share is part of a ritual of remembrance, an act of vibrational resonance, calling the others home. Welcome to the path. Welcome to the flame.